Hi everybody, my name is Michael Klesch. I'm the brass arranger for the Academy Drum and Bugle Corps, and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the music production side of what we're doing for this year's show. Um, I have been working for the Academy. I think 2009 and 2010 were my first 2 years working with them, and then Mark had asked me to come back again in 2014, so this is the fifth year, right? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Fifth year back working with them, and it's been a complete pleasure to be able to work with these people. Mark Richardson is a top-notch person. I mean, if you know the organization, you know him. I think the world of him, and I think the world of what they do for the kids in the drum corps. From somebody like me who does this for a living, you get to work with a lot of groups, and I count myself fortunate when I'm able to be part of a group like the Academy. I think the kids get a great experience there, and Mark's one of the big reasons that I'm there doing what I do. So many thanks to him, and many thanks to the organization for having me be a part of this. This year's show is about academia. I'm not sure if that's going to be the title or not. You'll hear from Lindsay in one of these videos, Lindsay Vento, and she'll be able to fill you in on the concept side of what we're doing. But working with her this year, Jamie Hawley, who's also done the drill there for a number of years, top-notch guy himself, and a lot of fun to work with. I know you're going to hear about the visual side of what they're doing. But musically, we're doing, like I said, this show about academia. One of the ideas that came along was maybe we should have an alma mater, and I thought that would be a cool twist for something to be in the show. And when we talked about that idea, the first thing that popped into my mind was, and at the time I didn't know the name of this song, but it's called Annie Lyle. It was written by a Boston songwriter by the name of H.S. Thompson back in the 1800s. And I had heard this song back when I started writing for the University of Alabama. And they have this wonderful tradition at the end of big rehearsals and performances where the band gets together and they sing a four-part harmony of this alma mater. So in looking it up and finding the name of it, I also found on Wikipedia that there's like 250 some odd high schools and colleges around the country that also use this melody as part of their alma mater. You'll probably notice or know it. Pretty popular, and you probably sat there and said, oh yeah, I know what that is. So that's the very beginning of the show, and in a minute I'll give you a little insight into the opening production that uses that, and maybe some compositional motives that you'll be able to listen to in the show. Past that, though, we do the Academic Festival Overture by Brahms. We do the Overture to the School for Scandal by Barber, both thematically connected to the idea of academia and schools. After that, there's a percussion feature, the 4 sections. And then right now, we're working on the very end of the show, which is, we've taken some inspiration obviously from some movies, which are great. Good Will Hunting, The Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams, an all-time favorite movie of mine. Actually watched that movie at the very beginning of this process with my son, 15 years old, freshman in high school, loved the movie, loved what it's all about. So, the whole scene at the end where, oh, Captain, my Captain, and they're standing up on the desks for Mr. Keating in support of him, we got the idea of trying to work that somehow into the end of the show. And there's a piece of music in there called Keating's Triumph that will be part of this production. So that's actually what I'm working on this week. It's the week before the March camp at the end of the month here. And I'll be going out to hear the horn line, hear the music, work with Ben Hilton and his staff to get them ready. And for me, really just to make sure that everything is right. Every little note is correct, all the articulations, dynamics. Anything we can do to set the kids up for success, we'll try to take care of that weekend. So back to the beginning, to give you an insight of what I do, you had that song, Annie Lyle. When you write for drum corps, you have these extensions that you have to put on, and effects and endings and moments, applause moments in the pieces that are not usually found in the original. When I do that, I like to take the source material that we're working from, the melodic content and the harmonic content, so that when you're writing an extension for that piece, it sounds like it came from the composer of that original music. Same thing in School for Scandal, the Academic Festival Overture. Any moments that we had in there, I wanted to make sure that they sounded like that music. To give you an odd sort of analogy, it's like if you're taking the music of Aaron Copland, if we're writing for Aaron Copland, I don't want to get to a moment in that music where all of a sudden now the extension sounds like it was something that was harmonized by Stravinsky, that was completely out of a different harmonic and melodic sound and signature for that composer. So this one being Annie Lyle, you'll hear a soundscape at the beginning of the show. You'll hear the brass and percussion come in with this big fanfare material. And you'll hear what sounds like the first 4 bars are pretty traditional Annie Lyle. The next 3 measures here, I wanted to do just a little bit of a harmonic twist on it. So it was comfortable but a little bit uncomfortable to help foreshadow some of the ideas that you'll be seeing later in the show. And then the extension, which is at the very end here, I'll kind of maybe play it twice for you and talk through it while I'm doing it the second time. But you'll see that the mellophone line in here is taken from the melody of Annie Lyle. So we get one more quote of that music. So let's see if we can play this and make it sound. Okay, so you had a chance to listen to it. I think these things are always interesting because for me, when I write, I hear this. I do my best to make the brass sound good and to make it pedagogically sound for them. But I'm also considering what the front ensemble is going to do and what the battery is going to do. And Mark Eichenberger and Cisco, they do a great job with the percussion. I try to pass along to them maybe some of the things I'm hearing, and also leave room for them to come up with their own ideas that aren't so, handcuffed into what, I'm trying to do from a brass perspective. So I'll play it one more time for you and just talk a little bit over top of it so that you can maybe hear some of the ideas that I first mentioned. The traditional Annie Lyle. Now in here, same melodic idea, the second half of the phrase, but with the harmonic twist. Now here comes our extension, the big moment at the end of the piece. Here in the mellophones, Annie Lyle. Now I'll cut that off, but you end with the big glorious sound of the Academy brass section and percussion section. So again, just a little bit of an insight into what we do. Thank you for being a supporter of the Academy. Without people like you, it's hard to get all these kids down the road and provide the great experience that they get. So again, thanks to Mark Richardson for allowing me to do this. Thank you to anybody out there watching this who's a supporter and donor of the organization. And we hope to see you on the road sometime this summer. Thanks.